Welcome to the Tim Castle Show, where I sit down with courageous individuals doing inspirational things around the world. Whether it's AI, crypto, mindset, leadership, negotiation and sales, I've got you covered. I sit at that nexus of disruption and change. I'm loving every second of this. I really do believe this is the most abundant time that we've lived in. And if we harness what's going on correctly, we can build businesses that are going to transform our future and your lives. So come with me on this journey, meet the people. I pull back the curtain, I find out who they really are. I started off building this podcast for my sons as something they could look back on later in life and see the conversations that their dad had with people that he respected and admired, but most of all, get the lessons. And now I'm sharing those lessons with you and the reasons that people had done things, the ambition, the passion, and the hardship and their vulnerabilities. And I actually really enjoy it. This is one of the most special times as I get to sit down with people that I really would love to chat to and ask them the questions that are burning in my mind. If you are the same as me and you're pushing the limits and the edges of what you do, please like and subscribe to the show. It helps me tremendously to get new guests on the show and expand that reach so we can help more people together. Today I interview Kevin from When Shift Happens. We talk about how to scale and monetize a podcast, what to do when you're interviewing billionaires, the right questions to ask, how to even get billionaires on your show, and then we dive into Kevin's story, how he's come back resilient every single time, how he picks himself up from trading and investing, and the skills and lessons that he's learned from both running the podcast, scaling it, and interviewing some of the best minds in crypto, AI, and technology. If you're thinking about podcasting, building a personal brand, a business, this is an episode you're going to want to pay attention to. Thank you to Kevin for coming on. Really appreciate it. It was such a blast. So without further ado, let's get the show started.
And things that can be done when you have like a personal brand. And
Yeah, it can take it.
yeah, so there's a bunch of people who try to plug themselves. I mean, since 2 years, and I was like, no. And now I'm like, okay, why not? Maybe we can do so.
I think so.
We can try some things. I mean, probably some things is not going to work, but it doesn't really matter. Like, if you don't try, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And some stuff might work better than expected.
Take off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Legend. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, it's good. Are we roll? No.
What I always do is I just like ask them, hey, just like start like before people come in.
Yeah, the natural.
So it's much more natural.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hi, are we on? I'm like, yeah, we're on. Surprise.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's more like, yeah, 3, 2, 1, tack. And then it's like less natural. It feels less natural. Like even now, you know, just keep the beginning. Keep this part on and
keep that all in. I like this. Kevin's got it right. Let's do it. Well, this is it. Like, thank you for coming. Like, I really do appreciate it. And I value your time. So
how did you even find I don't know, the podcast or I don't know, like the Instagram or the YouTube?
Whenever you're ready.
Oh.
Yeah, we're on already. We're born ready.
Can we keep all of this? This is great. Sure. Perfect, man. I've been following the podcast for a number of years.
Okay.
But just seeing it grow. Podcast, crypto, Banana Zone. Like, okay. I think I've been in crypto since 2017. As in investing. And so I've been through a couple of cycles and the pain, man, the pain brought me.
Are you Brit or?
I'm a Brit.
Okay. So you know Raoul Pal. That's why I guess.
Do, yes. Okay. Like not personally in the sense that we've hung out in Little Cayman, but I feel like I know Raoul.
Yeah, we all do.
And you know him really well, 5 times on the show.
Yeah, he came for the 5th time last week.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing. We just hug when we meet now.
I feel like
that's the beauty of podcasting, actually.
I need a Raoul hug. I actually have met Raoul. What am I saying? I've met him at, I think it was either Super AI or Token. I think it was Super AI a couple of years ago. Very tall, isn't he?
Super tall.
Compared to what you
very
think.
Tanned, always tanned.
And a charmer.
Yeah, he's a very good spokesperson. Like, he's very well spoken and he's very nice. He's a good person. Get a lot of criticism because he's going out there and he takes a lot of risks by talking about certain positions publicly and talking about the macro cycle and all that stuff. And well, people say you've been wrong massively. I mean, it depends what time frame you take, right?
Mm.
You can be wrong in a 3 to 6 month time frame, or 1 year or 2 year, but you can still be right within 5 or 10 years. And so that's the thing that people like to blame other people online. People are a bit crazy online, especially.
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, especially when you're hiding behind the cartoon picture, right? Cartoon picture or like an NFT, or even on YouTube, we get all these comments about my accent, and I'm like, I actually laugh a lot. But yeah, people are crazy online.
How did you deal with that? Because you've gone to, like, you're at what, 1 million views a month now? Like, how do you deal with, not the haters, but like the comments? Like, how did you first deal with that compared to how you deal with it now?
I never had any issue, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I never took anything personally. I mean, if there's bad comments and they're justified, I'm like, okay, we can learn from that.
Mm.
The way you deal is you respond with love. That's actually funny, right? So they're like, yes, I to criticize, and I'm like, the person actually watched and took some time to write a comment and criticize. So I just answered, thank you so much for watching, and I put like some hearts. And then either they don't answer, either they're like, oh, actually, I didn't really mean that, blah, blah, blah. And then like they go on and they kind of like apologize. And I'm like, I don't know, to be honest. Like for me, the more comments, the better, whether they're good or bad. Doesn't really matter. Because you want to have engagement.
Mm.
And I just know we're trying to do our best. So if I feel like I've done my best and people are not happy, it's fine. If I feel like I could have done better, well, I might be a bit disappointed for like an hour. Not for a comment, just because I know I could have done better. But it doesn't really matter. Like the only thing that matters is doing. That's it.
That's the process. So respond with love. I like that.
Yeah, like I put some hearts, like thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. And I put some hearts. And then what can you do? I wish in my personal life I was able to respond to, if I'm in a relationship, for example, and the person attacks me, I should be answering like that. And it would probably make every situation so much easier, right? But when it's written like that, like it's just so much easier. And it works.
That's the truth. That's the truth. It works. And you don't let it affect you, and you always are doing.
I never got affected by it. I never really cared about what anyone thinks about me, to be honest, like in my life in general. Otherwise, you don't start businesses. Like as we started the first company when I was 22. Everyone will tell you like, what are you doing? You're never going to make money with this data. We built a data analytics company. That's how I landed our first big client in 90 days, like actually big one.
You did it.
Actually, was it 90 days? I'm not sure. Probably took more time, but it was a mega contract. But like all the odds are against you. And also like people can't, because if you study in university, like there's a path, right? You will go to consulting or investment bank. Your parents, if they didn't build companies, they supported me. They said, oh, we'll give you 1 year. We'll pay you a life for 1 year and you can go and try. But still like, it's kind of weird to build something, especially when you're 22, like you don't know what to do. You don't know what you're doing. So you need to really give zero fuck about what people think about you. And then you go out there and you try to sell, and the biggest, toughest thing that you never learn when you're at school. For example, in university, we're always told, you're the leaders of tomorrow. You are the leaders of tomorrow, like the professors and like, oh, you're so smart, and if you're here, blah blah blah, and if you happen to like do good grades, I was like studying pretty hard, and I was doing good grades. Like you think you're the best, right? And well, when you go out there to the professional life, whether you build companies or not, right? You try to apply for a job. You apply for, I mean, I've never really applied for a job, but like if you apply for a job, you apply 300 times and you get, it's not even you get, sorry, we're not interested, it's ghosted, right? Well, in business it's the same, purely ghosted. And so like if you care too much about what people think, or you have like, well, you will not try more times. One thing maybe guys have an advantage is because in dating we're getting ghosted much more than women, right? So like you learn to get ghosted, and then you're like, oh, this is the same shit as in dating, except adults. I thought adults were more serious and would be able to say, tell the truth, but they're not. You go, you have this meeting, and then they tell you like, oh, what you're doing, we've been needing that for years. And then you're like, oh, amazing, I'm gonna land my first mega client in like 1 week. And then they never answer to your emails, right? You're like, what the fuck is this? And so never cared about what people think of me, to be honest. One of the reasons is I was really good at a lot of things I was doing when I was younger, sports and school and all that stuff. And my daddy was saying, play tennis. I was pretty good at tennis, but I was never the best. There was always 2 or 3 guys in Switzerland who were better, but way better. And he was like, I like it. I mean, it's good that you're doing that because because you're not the best here. And like, it makes your life a bit harder, right? And you probably need that a bit. And so in hindsight, probably like, yeah, enabled me to like not care too much.
Valuable, truly valuable. So when did you start When Shift Happens?
So we started a podcast in December 2022. So about 3 years and a half ago. But we were already doing some content online before, but not seriously, without thinking of it as a business. And so without being consistent. So like seriously since December 2022, which is exactly 1 month, for people who are familiar with crypto, is 1 month after the FTX collapse. 2022 was a terrible year where a lot of people lost a lot of money, me included. And I lost like 92% of my wealth. I lost like $7 million in 2 days in 2022, in May 10, it was May 9 to 12 or something like that, 2022. Like basically, I mean, I had $5 left afterwards, so it's still not zero. And so then there was this like thing called Luna collapsed where I lost all this money.
You were in that too? Okay.
I lost $7 million in Luna.
As well.
And I also had, when this Luna thing collapsed, there was this token that went to kind of zero. I mean, not zero, it was going to 0.1 and then 0.01 and then 0.0. Then I realized there is always another zero you can add. So your money is never worth zero. It's like always like worth like kind of, I don't know, $1,000, then $100, then $10, then $1, then 10 cents, but it's never going to truly zero, right? And then there was another thing in this ecosystem, and there was this thing called a stable coin, but it was not backed. And but you could earn 20% yield on that, right, per year. And I really believed in this thing, so much so that on top of having like all this money in the Luna token that went to zero, I also had like a few $100,000 from my data analytics company that I started when I was 22. I had a few $100K in this stable coin that lost its peg and also went to zero. Where this one I got 30 cents on the dollar. So basically, let's say if I had 300K, maybe I got like 100K back. But this was affecting directly my data company, which had nothing to do with my crypto career and stuff.
Hang on. So I just said I went through 3 like ups and downs, 3 cycles. You actually got blown up in.
It happened a lot of time. So in 2020, when there was the COVID crash, right? When the World Health Organization declared COVID as a pandemic, right? Yep. The stock market went down. It was March 9 or 10 or 11, or 14. The stock market went down like 30% within probably a couple of days or weeks. And there was that one, crypto was way smaller than now. So much more volatile. It's still very volatile now, but it was much more volatile because it was much smaller. And there was one day where Bitcoin, which was the biggest coin, still is, right, went down. Bitcoin and ETH went down like 70% in one day. And I was doing this field called leverage trading.
Oh my goodness.
Where I had all my Bitcoin, which was 80% of my net worth. I was basically like levered, but like 2x, which means that if
Yeah.
if the price of the asset goes down more than 50%, you lose everything. But it was not supposed to happen. Whatever happened, it's not supposed to happen, always happens. But also had more Bitcoin to like, you can top up the collateral and then lower the liquidation price. So I was thinking, in case I need to do that, I can still do it. And so I put so much Bitcoin to lower the price, but because it went down, after going down already from I think it went down from 10K or 12K to 7K throughout a few weeks, and then it went down another 70% in one day. So all the Bitcoin I had topped up, I just got liquidated and lost everything. And that was the first time I lost like probably 80% of like all my money. Like this one was not even 1 or 2 days. It was like over like a minute, right? Like gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was, I mean, every time you learn. And
what an experience. I mean, probably don't call it that, but
the only thing that matters is like, was this luck or not, right? If you made money first and then you lose it, well, it might have been just luck. But if you're able to make money again, well, it means that you might have some skills, right?
Well, that's it, because between those three events, you made money back again, you made money back again, you made money back again.
Yeah, I mean, the first two ones were mostly based on investing and trading, which I think trading, you can't make any money, and I'm not the only one. All my podcast guests were the biggest people that just say, there's no money in trading. Forget it. You can't make money consistently, good money trading. Or if you make some, you're not going to outperform just buying and holding a Bitcoin or an S&P 500 or whatever, long term. The second one was like buying these coins that I had massive belief in and had some insider information and all, because of like, we were doing not a podcast yet, but we were doing these like online AMAs, etc. But again, this is like based on, you buy something, it goes up and down like crazy. Well, it's still gambling, right?
But you front run it.
Yeah, but I was a long-term investor. I was a long-term believer, right? I'm actually very good at buying bottoms. I'm a terrible person to sell. So I need to buy something I believe in because I can't sell, right? And then I learned, like, if you build businesses that actually are really good businesses and that generate cash and cash flow, and then you invest them in a boring fashion, which would mean like maybe just buy Bitcoin or like just like some S&P 500, or, well, that's actually how you make a lot of money, right? And there's no place for luck anymore. And that's the big shift was, well, obviously we talk about that with Raoul Pa all the time. It's like the number one game to build financial freedom is income. And people want to skip that part and just say, I'm going to buy the next 100x AI stock or shitcoin, and I'm going to get rich and retire. Well, the reason why you make the 100x and you make so much money on paper is the reason why you're going to lose everything. It's because you don't sell. Right? And so that's the problem.
Wow.
So
what a journey. But the thing you've created with When the Shift Happens has actually given you more than just the ups and downs, more than the money. It's incredible what you've, like, you are the most credible, one of the most credible sources for crypto and Bitcoin in the world, right? This is huge as a destination. Like, and I actually, thinking about it, probably have followed you since the beginning then. If it was 2022, that makes a lot of sense, because I feel like I already know you. But now, I mean, you were just with Michael Saylor, like last week, was it?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, at some point, like, you have to do that, otherwise you're not improving, right? So it's like, at some point, we were supposed to do that 1 year ago. But I was recording 14 podcasts over a couple of weeks in the US, and then this Michael Saylor like opportunity 1 year ago in March 2025 happened, and last minute, and I was like, I have too many podcasts to record, and it's too much and I'm too tired and too jet lagged to prepare another like banger podcast with Saylor. So I'm going to basically I'm going to make it not work out and I can do it later. And then like,
stall the invite.
The problem is like, but the problem is I tried another 35 times to get him on afterwards and it was not working out, right? Like they were just ghosting, it was not working. I was saying no, or they're just not answering anymore. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I missed it. And in the beginning of this year, I was just thinking, I don't care anymore if I get Saylor, or I don't want to like run or chase people, right? And then it happened.
Magic.
It's like women, right? If you don't care, like they're gonna come.
Oh.
But if you just chase, they're gonna be like, ugh, I don't want this dude.
The more you pull
What's
back.
wrong with this dude?
That's how you wooed Saylor again. You just pull back.
No, I sent one email. I was like, screw this, I don't care. I had a bit of my ego moment, and I was just like, screw this. But then, well, it's actually because of the war in Dubai that it happened, the Saylor thing. Because I was not supposed to go to the US because these US trips from Singapore are like crazy, right? But then because the Dubai war happened and there's this big event in April that is happening in Dubai where I usually record a lot of podcasts, but this was not happening anymore. So I had to get my podcast in, and people in crypto, it just came to an agreement where the event that is going to replace this Dubai event is going to be this other event 1 week later or 2 weeks later, which is happening in Miami. And I'm like, oh shit, now I need to fly to Miami, right? And then I was just thinking, who could I line up there? And I remember, I know Michael Saylor lives in Palm Beach in Miami. And I have the email of like the chief of staff. So I'm just going to try for the 36th time in 1 year.
How long had the gap been between your 35th and 36th try?
Maybe a few months. I don't know.
That was the knot.
I don't know, like maybe 3 months or... And then then it worked out. I mean, I had a guy who introduced us. He just like sent an email and said, this is the best podcast in crypto. Michael should go on. And then like she replied finally and she was like, okay, let's do it. And then just it happened. Like it was actually very easy to make it happen.
Beautiful.
At the end.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it was good. It was very good.
What's been the most surprising thing that's happened because of the podcast?
I think it's how quickly you can get to talk like to the biggest people on the planet. So I was, the same day I did Raoul Pal, I did Michael Saylor, I did Raoul Pal. So that was the same day, right?
Before or after?
Michael in the morning, 2.5 hours, and Raoul in the afternoon, 90 minutes, right? So 1.5 hours. Pretty good day for like when shift happens. Another very good day was March 2025, where in one day I had the founder of Ripple, which is this XRP token. The founder of Ripple was worth like $65 billion in 2018 because of this XRP craziness, right? So I had him, and then 2 hours later, I had the founder of Solana. And I was like, I mean, if you understand crypto, you look at the top cryptocurrencies, well, you have literally like Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Sol, and then USDT, sorry, which is Tether, who we also had here in this studio, the founder of Tether, who is worth like $50 billion, like the guy. Probably my richest guest so far. One of them. With this guy from Ripple. And so you get to these days where you're like, how is it possible that I'm here talking to these people? Like another one that was like pretty good was, first time with Raoul Pal was incredible. It was in 2024, June. And I'm talking to this, and the day after, I'm introducing him to like some other crypto founders, and like he hugs me, and I'm like, what? Right? Like makes no sense. Like you one of them. We had Coinbase, which is this like 50 or 60 or $70 billion company listed on the Nasdaq. the biggest, one of the most famous exchange in the world. They reached out and they said, do you want to have Brian Armstrong, our founder, on the podcast? And I was like, let me think about it.
You played it cool.
Let me think about it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. And he doesn't do any crypto podcasts. Like,
right.
He's going to all these Silicon Valley podcasts, but he doesn't do any crypto podcasts. But because of the format and like the long conversations and because of the quality and everything, they came and they said, and I was like, this is pretty cool. So like this last New York trip, US trip, I was in Miami and in New York, and we literally did like we recorded like maybe 7 or 8 podcasts. I did Michael Saylor, I did Raoul Pal the same day. I did another few people who were pretty big in like traditional finance, but maybe less known by the average person. And then I did the founder of Kalshi. Kalshi is this company, prediction markets, right? You have this company called Polymarket and Kalshi. And Kalshi just got valued $22 billion. And the 2 co-founders, they're 29 years old. It's a girl from Brazil, Luana, and it's a guy from Lebanon, Tarek. And again, Kalshi came and said, we want to have Tarek on When Shift Happens. A 29-year-old guy who is worth $3 billion, right? And they come to us. And I was there, and like the whole thing, it was so good. And I was just thinking, if you think too much, it doesn't really make sense, to be honest. Like you're like, what the fuck? How is that possible?
Is that your advice then? If someone was thinking about scaling a podcast, like how has this happened? Like what's been the key? Is it your relentlessness? Is it you're playing it cool?
I think it's like, more you need to
the research you do, like because you do a lot of research. You come in prepared.
It's a mix of many things. Number one, in your industry, are you doing something different? In crypto, it was the reason why we started the podcast was because all the media, and I still believe the same 3.5 years later, media quality is very poor in crypto because there's a lot of money, and therefore like journalists, they don't have an incentive to get out of their bedroom and take a plane to go and record interviews. They can do it from their office or bedroom or whatever, from their laptop, and then they can throw the Zoom meeting on YouTube and not have that much views and still like make crazy money from sponsorships, right?
Right.
So where is the incentive? Number two, because it's a bunch of nerds, crypto, well, they're kind of used to like look at stuff online, so it's fine, right? So for us, it was how do we make crypto look more credible to the outside? Because crypto is seen as a very lame and weird industry by most people. And I think it's normal because it's a bunch of weirdos. It's a lot of scams. It's people who, they will often tell you, if you don't understand what we're doing, like, I don't have time to explain to you, right? It's kind of like, it's kind of weird. And it's also pretty technical, so it's very intimidating. And so the idea was, how do we make this industry look better and look more credible and also look more simple? And the way to do that could be, I could go and like record and be like, hey guys, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But there was a lot of that already. And these kind of influencers, they turn into like, there's the dark side of crypto where you can get paid to shield. We use this word shield crap. And it's massively profitable, but you're scamming everyone, right? And so I was just thinking, how do we do something better? And I was looking at what Lex Fridman was doing, Stephen Bartlett was doing, and Joe Rogan, obviously, like the OG. I actually spent some time in 2021 in April, I think, with Stephen in Bali. So nice. He has one of his best friends, he's called Anthony. Introduced us, and we spent some time, a couple of days. And he was already pretty big in the UK. I think he had like 1 million followers on Instagram, and YouTube was probably very small, like maybe 10, right. 20, 30K. I don't remember. Maybe 50K, I don't remember. But like still pretty big in the UK, but like not outside. So so his podcast was in his kitchen, right? He was literally getting people. That's he had like top-notch production, but he was in the kitchen in his house, and he was asking me some questions about crypto, like maybe what coin to buy and all that stuff. And I happened to like give him one, but to be honest, no one really knew what to buy. I was like, this one is interesting. And then he made like 8x on it and he sold the top and he was like, hey, bro, like any. And I was like, wow, what the fuck? Like, how did you even do that, right? And I was asking him like, what are you doing with this podcast? And he just told me one thing, which was, well, last week I had, I remember if it was Harry Styles or Liam Payne, but one of these two guys from One Direction, which he had both on his podcast. But the week before we were in Bali, or maybe 2 weeks before, he had one of them, let's say Harry Styles, on the podcast. And he came to my place, to my kitchen, and we did this podcast for an hour and a half, and we barely knew each other, but he accepted to come on my podcast. Often this podcast stuff is you're playing on the ego of the guest, right? They want to come and talk, and they love to talk, so you just let them talk. And it was also not really like there was Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan, but it was not a big thing yet, all this podcasting stuff, right? So he says, last week I had, Tuesday or it was Monday, I had Harry Styles on my podcast in my kitchen. 3 days later, he invited me to his house for his birthday, and I met all his friends. And when he told me that, I was like, holy shit, like this is networking on steroids. Incredible. So then I thought, and then, this crypto market was 2021, was going crazy, right? So the incentive in crypto, if you had like a good bag of crypto, was not to work too much because you were printing money by doing nothing. So the following year or so, I was doing like a podcast or two online. These live streams or these interviews online, but not seriously, which was the thing we were doing before When Shift Happens. And I had a Dokun from Luna.
Yes, okay.
And I was like, first billionaire on the podcast, putting this on Instagram. And then Steven is like, hey, congrats, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. But nothing serious, right? I'm making too much money by doing nothing. Why would I work hard? And then I watched during this year or so, I just watched Steven blow up. And I'm like, and he was actually making some videos on YouTube saying his business model. How do you make money podcasting? How do you make it sustainable? If you go pay per view, that's going to be very hard because there's no view in the beginning. You need to find some long-term partners in the beginning that trust you, believe in you, and you do a 6 month to 1 year deal with a bunch of them, and then you have some money that you can start building a team and growing your podcast and all that stuff, because all this stuff costs money, right? And because he had the 1 million followers already on Instagram and a bunch of contacts, he said, I think he just cold email Upwork or Fiverr and a bunch of other, and he got the deals, right? And then he said, there's this video still, how I made $1.2 million in 1 year with a podcast, right? And he explained his strategy, and I'm like, interesting. And well, I watched him blow up, and then it's 2022, mid-2022, and then I lose all my money in this Luna coin, and all crypto goes to shit. And then I'm like, crypto media is bad, right? It's not good quality. And now FTX collapsed in November 2022. It cannot really get any worse than that. But I was here in 2018 and 19 in the last bear market, and it came back. And there was nothing concrete. Whereas 3-4 years later, there was much more concrete stuff, right? So we're going to get back. So that's the moment to start that. Let's go do something serious. And then I kind of took his principles of networking on steroids, and then you do it every week. And if you land a good guest or a really good guest, then some other people of a certain will actually give you credibility, or just their ego, this guy went on, but he's bigger than me. I'm going to go on too, right? And then you start to play. It's pure sales and business development, and you play on that, right? Hey, how do I get another one? And if I want to get this person, well, maybe I get this person here. I get 3 of them, And if I get 3 of them and I really do a really good job that is different from the rest of the industry, which in crypto was just online Zoom meetings published on YouTube, well, I might get an introduction to this person, right? Or if I do enough of them, people might start to realize, right, there's something going on. And so a mix of the quality and the trailers and all that stuff and the research. If you do really good research, number one, my mother tongue is not English, so I need to research. Otherwise, the conversation might be much more shallow, right? Because it's harder to. I mean, I learned with years, right? But it was hard for me to express thoughts within just a few words. I was always using 20 words instead of 5 to express, to turn a thought into like words, right? Because when you don't speak the language since when you're born, where it's harder. So I forgot what I was saying. This is the jet lag kicking in. But so basically, like, you do all this stuff, you do the quality, and then at the same time you need to have a good business model, right? And business model was, okay, can I find some brands that believe in me for 6 months or 1 year, right? And I was like, I don't have the 1 million followers on Instagram like he had. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to go out there and start doing. But in a bear market, it's much easier to get big founders on, right? Because no one cares about crypto anymore. So if you're one of the ones who care, they'll come on. And then at some point, I knew that I wanted to build a very premium brand. I knew I wanted the biggest people, and also I wanted the biggest sponsors, because that's like how you build your brand. If you start with like, you will not start with the biggest people, but if you start with smaller brands as sponsors, it's probably going to be harder to like elevate yourself. So my data analytics company that I have since 10 years was actually funding the podcast for the first 60 episodes of the first 1 year, until we were really good with production, trailer, deep conversations, preparation, all that stuff, and you're putting all together. And you prove yourself you can be consistent. And that's how we did it, basically step by step. Like looking at what Steven was doing and then applying that to crypto. And then at some point, one of the guests came and said, I want to sponsor your podcast. And I was like, what do you want to sponsor? There's nothing. And he's like, I want to sponsor. And I'm like, how much do you want to sponsor? And then he's like, well, as little as possible. How much do you want to pay? Well, as little as possible. And I'm thinking, okay, how much does it cost me more or less per month to run this thing? Well, I'm going to ask that more or less. It was like a few K, right? A few $1,000s. And then we got another one. And then it's the same as with the guests, right? Like, okay, how can I get another one? But the truth is, I actually almost never went out there and sold a sponsorship. Like, it's always from a guest who came on from one of these big companies. Said, how much is this other guy paying to be the sponsor? I'm like, well, this. Oh, okay, I want, think bigger, right? Okay, cool. Okay, let's think bigger. And then it's just like grew like that. It's a bit of a long answer, but like that's kind of like the story in a nutshell.
What a masterclass. Like, starts with Stephen Bartlett doing podcast in his kitchen, you spotting that's a...
Well, we're in Bali, and I was just asking, like, I didn't understand, like, what was this podcasting thing? And how you could actually make this a business, right? Yeah. Even today, most podcasts are not actual businesses. They're used to sell a product or service, underlying product or underlying service, or do networking and all that stuff. But you can, and most people will tell you can actually not, it's too hard to build a podcast as a business itself, right? Or you need to do something very focused on one specific niche, right? And I'm like, okay, crypto is a niche, but actually, if I want to focus, I should probably focus on an ecosystem or something. I'm like, no, this is not possible. I prefer, and people were telling me, no one is going to watch a 2-hour podcast or 1 hour and a half. I'm like, yeah, but people watch 3 hours Joe Rogan. I'm not Joe Rogan, but people watch 3 hours Joe Rogan. Yeah, you should do 20 minutes. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do 1 hour. And I was doing 1 hour, but I was frustrated. I was like, after 1 hour, I barely start to understand what the fuck is going on here. Like, I want to go much deeper. And if I go much deeper, our approach was, we're not going to be the most viral, but I'm going to be so well prepared. And I'm going to go so much deeper And it's going to be such a different conversation that's not technical and more about the life and all that stuff of the founder, and kind of like a therapy session. And they're gonna stay there for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and they're gonna think this is really amazing and this is really different. And then they're gonna either want to sponsor or either introduce us to someone else. So the approach was more like on the guest and guest quality and brand than on how do we master YouTube as a science, like Diary of a CEO did, which they're like complete masters at that. And then with the time, because we started to make money, then you start to understand how YouTube works and all that stuff, right? And it becomes a science, and you understand how to do thumbnail and title and click-through rate, and what kind of conversation and question can go viral, and how you can clip your podcast. You can look at the data on YouTube Studio, and if it performs well with the good packaging, maybe you have a few playbooks of packages you can use. And once you use the packaging and it works well, how do I do that? This is what Gary Vee teaches everyone since like 20 years. How do you do content on content, right? Like, hey, if you have one really good piece of content, how many years of podcasting and emails did I need to get Michael Saylor on? Well, if I do Michael Saylor, we're going to get views because of his name, right? But this is just one piece of content, the whole podcast, 2 hours and 15 minutes. But now you need to capitalize on that and compound on that. So you will go and you will do 5 clips of 5 to 10 minutes and post them on YouTube with a good packaging. And then at the end, you're going to link to the main video. And then you're going to do the same on social media. What's a good clip on YouTube and on X and on LinkedIn, which are different audience, and on Instagram. And then you start to understand all this stuff and you compound it everywhere. And then you build this compounding machine, and you get your followers and subscribers, and you're there all the time, right? So that's we learn like later on, and we're I would say like we're pretty decent at it yet now, but still not like amazing.
Oh, this is awesome. This transparency, this level of transparency is awesome. And just seeing where it came from and what you've put together. So you focus on the guest experience, the quality.
100%. That's the only thing that we could do. Because I was thinking, I don't have the 1 million Instagram followers. The reason why Steven had it is because we were in 2021, but already since 2016 or 17, he was building this social chain agency, and he actually told Gary Vee on his own podcast, he said, I copied you. I took some videographer behind me when I was building my business, and I documented everything. And then he got to like 1 million followers. Without that base, which we had 0 base. I mean, we were doing these like online AMAs, and maybe we had 5K on views, subscribers on YouTube. But there was nothing, right? So you have to think, I don't have the 1 million followers on Instagram, and I don't have the, 50 or 100K followers or subscribers or connections on LinkedIn. I don't have a base. So what do I have? Well, I'm pretty good at building momentum. Building momentum is the same in sales, in whatever, right? And like getting a guest and then using like this kind of brand that you just, or mini like moment that you created to like get another one where it's still the momentum. And then like this I can do. And what else can I do? Well, I can take we were doing some online stuff, some online podcasts in the beginning. And then one of my best friends says, stop this shit and take a plane. And I'm like, yeah, but bro, like, it's already hard to get these big people on, which were not even big at that time. So online will be easier. They just have to turn on the laptop. Offline, they need to take a couple of hours in their day, come to the studio, think you're important enough. Too hard, right? He was like, shut up, take a fucking plane and go to the US where you need to go. I'm like, okay. And the other day we were joking about that, and he was like showing me the messages, like, and it changed everything, right? So what can I do? I can do deep conversations. I can do quality, which there is not in crypto. It's not quality. And I can get the good guests, and I can be very consistent and disciplined because I've been building businesses since 11 years. 7 years when I started the podcast, right? So I understand how a business is built and works, and that it's basically the same as going to gym, and you do the same all the time, over and over and over again. It's boring, and the reason why people are not successful is because they abandon. That's it. I don't abandon. That's it. And then if you do it well enough for long enough, well, you will outwork everyone else, and the other people who have a podcast and maybe are more hot, well, at some point they're just going to stop because it's too hard. Like doing this podcast in studio with big people, for example, in crypto, where you have maybe 100 big people to interview, or maybe even less. And most of them are in the US, and you need to fly all the time. It's so hard. Like, who wants to do that? Like, no one. Like, literally no one. So, like, you just do it. And if you do it,
beat the competition. But you're doing it at a time when you just lost 7 million on Luna. So you do hard things. It was a few
months later. But I was also, it's the same as when I started my first company, and now the podcast, and now maybe a bunch of others. You know what, it's like a gut feeling. You know that you have to do that. Like, this is the right thing to do. Like, I don't know if it's going to be successful or not. I had some benchmarks on like what money is possible based on some other podcasts in crypto that were actually making really good money in previous cycles. And I was like, this is online, it makes so much money. What the fuck? This is crazy. Wow. Maybe I can do 10% of that or 5%, 20% of that, right? And we'll see what happens. But you do it because you know it's the right thing. That's it. It's a gut feeling. Also, what else do you want to do? Like, you lost the money. Like, if you cry, it's not going to come back. So, if you kill yourself, well, you're dead, right? Literally. So, what do you want to do, right? And also, I was just thinking, was this just luck? And I was not sure. I was like, maybe I'm just a loser, and it was just luck, right? Or maybe I'm not that exceptional, and it was just luck. Well, let's see. Like, at the end of the day, the reason I started a company when I was 22, I mean, I felt I need to do this data thing because I was doing an internship and I realized there was data problems. So I knew this is the problem to solve. Like, this is a big problem. Let's just try to find a solution. But it was also because if you go to school, you're judged based on grades, right? But like, everyone can have like the best grade if they work hard enough. Like, you can, like, and I realized at some point, what's something that you can prove yourself that you can be better than others. And that's like, I don't know if we say this word in English, but irrefutable. Like, basically, you are better than others. Well, if you invest, you put your money behind something and you make money, some other people might not do as well. Some other people might do better, right? Well, you can prove that, I'm actually better at anticipating the future and I put my money on it. If you build a company, well, because if you go and you work for a big company, there's all this corporate politics, which, by the way, when I had built my first company, I was just like swimming in corporate politics. It was horrible. Like, because we're a consultant to like big companies. I was like, man, I'm doing this thing, but like, this is politics, but from external, right? But because of all these politics, our business might die because these people are so freaking slow. It's like terrible. But if I just survive and I make it work, and then I find the best business models, and I make ultimately like the money, that's really cool. I think the thing with the money is I mean, some level of freedom. Like, I can't some degree of freedom. I can do whatever I want whenever I want. But it's more, is this thing working or not? Like, it's your ultimate KPI. If like the money is good, it means that your thing is working, and therefore you're doing something right? Whereas you could be working for a big company and you could be better than others, but still have a less good career because you don't understand the political side. Maybe you're less aggressive, maybe you're too nice, all that stuff, right? And so for me, it was always like, how do I find a way to look at my peers and see if I can be really better? It's like more in a competitive way than I want to be better because I feel insecure. No, it's not. I just want to be better. I just want to prove myself I can be better. But how can I do that at school? I can't. Because maybe like the teacher, if it's like math, okay, like maybe a bunch of others will have the best grade and me too, or whatever. But if it's like a literature, like the professor just might not like your face and he's going to give you like an average grade because he doesn't like your face, right? And I'm like, this is retarded. Like, this is not what I want. I want like an irrefutable way to prove myself that I'm actually very good or better. And building businesses and or investing are basically the two ways I found to prove that. And then you do really well and you make a lot of money and you're like, I'm amazing, but you're young and you don't even understand that it's all luck. And then you get fucked, right? And then you lose everything and you're like, well, actually, I might not be better. But this is a good slap because the market is the market, and the market is going to prove you if you're good or not, right? And you're like, okay, now I can just abandon and cry and get a job, or just say, let's do it again and prove that I'm actually good, but I just didn't understand some basic rules of the game. And if I do it again, but differently, well, I might do well. And so that was the entire, I think, motivation.
That's it. You can see that you're great at creating momentum because you're not looking at what went wrong. You're looking, right, this is also an opportunity. I can get Tolly and I can get Dan Tapia, whoever it is, right, on the show in 2022. We can build this and we're going to follow people that have already done it or the rule book, their playbook. And we're just going to do it better than everyone else in the ways that they're not doing it. And you are the one that's identified that. And now
I mean, I was maybe like, it's because one thing I forgot to say is in 2021, there was this crazy NFT craze, right? And I was watching that and there was this thing called Clubhouse, which now is like Twitter Space, right? And so I have a friend of mine, I mean, a guy I know, not like acquaintance. He was very early in NFTs, like 2017, 18. And he was running these clubhouses in 2021. Like he was like the leads, the organizer of the clubhouse and talking there. And Naomi Campbell was in there listening to him. And I'm like, what's going on here? And then I understood, right? I was like, oh, 12 months later, bear market. I'm like, if there's not like this place in studio, safe space where we can talk to crypto founders, or I need to create that because celebrities will come back in crypto in a few years. And I want to be the one to having them, because that's my chance, right? Like if I am there and I build this space and no one else has done it in crypto, but celebrities will still be interested by crypto, or then it become meme coin and all this stuff. Well, I will be the go-to person to go talk to. And instead of having the million followers like Steven had and all this contact, well, I'm the only place where if they want to talk to crypto crowds, they can come. And so 2 years later, I had the Hasbulla, the most famous midget in the planet. I don't know if you know, like the Hasbulla, this little guy who's like mega famous on the podcast. I mean, we ended up taking it down after 2 days because the guys did a lot of things that were not necessarily like ideal, but I was like, this happened. Like this like kind of like online celebrity is here in the studio and we're having a conversation. I mean, he doesn't speak English, he doesn't understand English, so we have a translator in both ways. But we made this happen. I'm like, this worked, right? My idea for 2 years ago worked. And well, then it happened that most of the celebrities were coming crypto, meme coins, they were there to like rug people. And so I was like, okay, we're probably not going to do too many of them. But now I'm getting mega tech founders. Like yesterday I was talking to like I forgot his name, Nick Thompson, like a mega basketball NBA player, super famous with like millions of followers on Instagram, who is in crypto now. And like, they were like, we want him to come on your podcast, right? Because he's involved in VC and tech investing and Bitcoin and hyperliquid. And I'm like, okay, let's do this next time. When there's going to be like the token event in Singapore, like he's going to come in this studio here and he's going to be there. And I'm going to be in front of like a mega, like previously mega famous NBA player, because now he's involved in tech investing and AI and crypto and all that stuff. And so it kind of worked out. Just like
sure did.
Time.
Sure did. Kevin, I want to thank you for coming on, for spending your time with us today, for what you've done for the community and just what you've done for like anyone listening, not just in crypto. This is not just a lesson in crypto, man. This is a lesson in business. This is a lesson in putting your money where your mouth is, even when the chips are down, and go. Like, it feels like, to me, the things you've said, regardless of the hand you've got, you're going to play that hand damn well, and you're going to find your way to the top. And like, there's so much more to come. Like, I can see where you're already ahead of where I can see where this is going, and you're already there. And you're just waiting for the market to catch up. We'll see. I'll spend much more time in New York because kind of crazy there for like business and guest opportunities. I was just there now and I was like, I'm probably going to spend like 4 months a year, if not more, in New York and in the US for that. So you have to go at some point, you have to go where like the thing is happening. But we'll see. Hopefully. I appreciate you. Appreciate you coming on. Pleasure. Making this connection. Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
That's a wrap.